on up and this is Kyle.
Nice to meet you.
Is he a grown-up or is he a teenager? Both.
Yeah.
Kind of in between.
I'm around the line.
And he is going to portray Joseph for us today. So why don't you have a seat so you can listen? Go ahead, have a seat, Gabriel. And listen to Kyle, who is portraying Joseph of Nazareth.
I am Joseph of Nazareth. Even though I am named for one of our national heroes, it did not seem to be my lot to reach such a high station or noble character. Yet I always wanted to fulfill, in at least some small way, the hopes of my devout parents. Although I am only a carpenter, still I strive to be an honest and industrious workman, using my skills to improve the lives of at least a few of God's people by making utensils for their homes and tools and carts for their gardens. This is a terrible time for Israel. Perhaps that is why so many of the common people speak of the coming of the Messiah, to create hope in the midst of despair. At least, so I thought until, well, let me tell you the whole story. After many years of hard work, I saved enough money to support a wedding. I was introduced to a beautiful and righteous young woman named Mary. When all the agreements had been made and only the time of the wedding awaited, it was discovered that Mary was with child. My heart was deeply troubled, and although my own hopes were destroyed, my greatest distress was for my betrothed. Then, in the midst of my despair, a mighty angel of the Lord suddenly appeared to me. I was at first filled with fear, but then with wonder, as he told me of the things beyond comprehension. The God of Abraham, of Isaac, of Jacob, and of Joseph had again moved his mighty hand to save his people. For the child Mary carried was the long-awaited Messiah, placed there by the Spirit of the living God. And I, the poor and ignorant worker, was to adopt, nurture, and train the one of whom the prophets spoke. It was too wonderful and terrible altogether. Because of the command of the angel, I gladly took Mary as my wife. But also, because the angel had spoken to me, I knew that wisdom from on high would guide me in my awesome task. Out of the darkest despair come the brightest hope. Hope for Mary and for me when there seemed only shame and pain. Yet it was much more, for as a sinful man, I understand the terrible bondage under which we live. But to this the angel said, "You shall call his name Jesus, for he will save his people from their sins."
Out of the darkest despair, the light of Christ shines with hope. We rejoice in the coming of Emmanuel.